in the little village of Eloria, where the air smelled of fresh rain and the river sang under the moonlight. Two souls grew up side by side, Daniel and Celine. They were more than best friends. They were pieces of each other's lives stitched together through time. Daniel was steady and kind, with eyes that spoke more than his lips ever could. Celine, on the other hand, was a dreamer, radiant, wild-hearted, always chasing visions bigger than their small village. To Celine, Daniel was her brother, her safe place. To Daniel, Celine was his everything. He loved her quietly, deeply, in a way that had no beginning and no end. But he kept that love buried in silence, afraid of losing the friendship that meant the world to him. Celine's heart did not belong to Daniel. It belonged to Prince Adrian, the heir of the kingdom. She had seen him once during the spring festival, when he passed through the village in gleaming armor. Since then, she carried his image like a candle in her heart. Whenever she spoke of him, her voice softened, her eyes glowed. "Daniel," she would say, "if he looked at me just once, truly looked at me, I know my life would change forever." Daniel would smile for her sake, though each word felt like a blade. And always, he whispered the same reply, "If anyone deserves his heart, Celine, it's you." But in truth, Daniel knew something Celine did not. The prince's heart was already taken. In the golden halls of the palace, Prince Adrian was indeed in love, not with Celine, not with any noble woman, but with Isla, a quiet maid who worked in the royal gardens. She had no crown, no jewels, only hands calloused from work and eyes that saw him not as a prince, but as a man. With Isla, he was free, not a ruler, not a symbol, but simply Adrian. He loved her fiercely, though their love was dangerous. A prince was not meant to choose a maid. Their meetings were stolen, hidden in moonlit corridors, behind rose bushes where no one could see. One day, the king announced a royal ball, where Prince Adrian would be expected to choose his bride. Celine's heart soared. She prepared for it with trembling hands, weaving flowers into her hair, imagining herself walking into the prince's arms. And as always, she turned to Daniel. "You'll come with me, won't you? Even if you can't go inside, wait for me outside the palace. I need to know you'll be there." Daniel nodded, though his chest ached. "I'll be wherever you need me, Celine." The night came. Celine entered the palace gates, radiant and hopeful. Daniel stayed outside, his heart heavy, knowing the truth that would soon shatter her dreams. Inside the ballroom, Celine searched desperately for Adrian's eyes, and she found them, but not looking at her, not even noticing her. His gaze, soft and unshakable, was fixed upon Isla, who stood quietly among the servants, holding a tray of wine. The music swelled, and when Adrian crossed the floor, he did not walk toward the noble women waiting to be chosen. He walked toward Isla. Gasps filled the hall. Nobles exchanged sharp whispers. Celine's breath caught in her throat as her dream crumbled before her eyes. Celine stumbled out of the palace, her heart torn to pieces. Daniel, waiting faithfully, rushed to her side. He loves her, Daniel," she whispered through her tears. "Not me. Not me." Daniel's hands itched to wipe her tears, to hold her close, but he restrained himself, only offering his steady shoulder. "Celine," he said softly, "love doesn't always go where we want it to, but that doesn't make you less. You are everything anyone could ever want." He couldn't see it, but "I always have." Celine froze, staring at him as though truly seeing him for the first time. His words were gentle, but they carried the weight of years of silence. Her voice faltered. "Daniel, you've loved me all this time, haven't you?" His silence was answer enough. His eyes, full of patience, pain, and unwavering devotion, told her everything she had never cared to notice. In the days that followed, Celine's heart healed slowly. She still thought of Adrian, of Isla, of the dream that slipped through her fingers, but at the same time, she began to see Daniel differently. She noticed how he always walked on the side of the road closest to the carriages, to shield her, how he listened, not just to her words, but to her silences, how he never let her feel alone, even when her world was breaking. One evening by the river, the place where their childhood dreams had been whispered, Celine took Daniel's hand. "All this time, I chased a prince," she said quietly, "but I see now, the real crown was beside me all along, not made of gold, but of loyalty, of love that never asked for anything in return. Tears filled Daniel's eyes as she leaned against him. For the first time, Celine's heart beat not for a prince, not for a dream, but for the boy who had always been there. Prince Adrian's love story with Isla became the talk of the kingdom, a scandal to some, a fairy tale to others. But far from the palace, another love story bloomed, quiet and true. Daniel and Celine were no longer just best friends. They became partners in life. Their bond deepened not by crowns or titles, but by years of laughter, loyalty, and a love that had waited patiently to be seen. And so, while the world looked to the palace for grand romances, the truest story of love was written in the village, in the hearts of two best friends who finally found each other.